Try and get a couple more questions in. I'll take one, please, from John Golden. John Golden.
Does the extensive media coverage of Tom Daly's new relationship suggest that it's, in fact, still not okay to be gay?
It's an interesting question. The huge coverage of the diver Tom Daly saying he was in a gay relationship, the coverage of it, does that suggest it's still not okay? Nick Ferrari.
No, I don't think it does. I think you have to accept that this was an extraordinarily successful and much-loved young man. There may have been a few issues about his sexuality in the past. He was an Olympic hero. He's going to be front-page news. I would suggest the tone that was taken by all the newspapers, including the tabloids, radically different to how papers would have reported this 2 decades ago, a totally different tone. I would argue that it spoke to a much better, a more tolerant Britain. It was totally embracing. Everybody said, "All your luck, we couldn't care damn, just enjoy yourself and get on with your life." That's what I took from it.
Okay. Mary Beard?
Yeah, well, perhaps surprisingly, I absolutely agree
We're
with
not doing very well, Mary, but tell me why I'm wrong. Come on.
Absolutely agree, and I just thought... I thought my own reaction was that I wasn't terribly interested. It was actually...
Well, don't read it,
was
then.
the point. I wasn't terribly interested.
There we go. Sold.
But I thought, and I think many people thought, fine, but just let the lad get back and dive, I thought, and not worry about his sex life. Just let him be a good
David
diver.
Davis.
He chose to tell
I guess the time when we're really mature society will be when he doesn't even bother to tell us.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's the real thing, then, because nobody then cares one way or the other. But in one respect, Nick is right. He's, you know, this is a sporting hero. You know, he's somebody who everybody idolises. The girls will idolise too. There'll be some sad girls, I suppose. but you know, fine. You know, he did it the way he did it. He did it very tastefully and very.
And he chose to do it.
Sensitive, and it was his choice.
Yeah,
Nobody
absolutely.
forced it. His choice.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Good luck to that.
Under the back there.
If it was truly, like, not an issue, then it wouldn't even have been mentioned. The fact that there is newspaper articles about an Olympic diver's sexuality shows that it's still, to some extent, an issue in someone's head. If it was just mentioned, even briefly, in maybe an interview or something, then that would be more understandable. But why was it necessary to make all of these big kerfuffle
Rachel
about it?
Reeves, you answer the point.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, no one would come out and say, you know, I've got something to tell you, I'm straight. So there is still, you know, an issue. And it is fantastic that Tom's done this. And the public reaction has been fantastic, as Nick has said. But if you take football, there isn't a single professional football in this country who is out as gay or bisexual. It may be that there's no professional footballers who are gay or bisexual. Or it might be that they are afraid of telling us they are because they're worried about the reaction on the pitch when they're playing in matches. So I think there is still an issue. I think we've come a long way, as Nick has said, but there is still further to go until it is regarded as doesn't matter at all.
You, sir.
I'd address the gentleman up there. It only made news because it's Tom Daly. I remind the audience, this is Great Britain. An orientation or disability is treated far more liberally here than other parts of the world.
Danny Alexander.
That's true.
Well, I agree with that, I think, and it's right. Tom Daly's a famous guy. He's a celebrity and a successful athlete, and so there's bound to be a bit of attention when he says this. But I think it's a mark of our tolerance as a society that it's been received precisely in the way that it has been, as Nick has said. But I think Rachel does make an important point, which is that there are other sports where perhaps there's not as much tolerance as there needs to be. You know, there are very few footballers, cricketers, rugby players who've been able to make the sort of statement that Tom Daly has, and I think it's a good example in a sense that you can make these sorts of statements, be well received by the public, and I hope very much we will continue to become more tolerant as we have by supporting same-sex marriage in this country too.
Which you were against, I think. No, hold on. David Davis, you were against, weren't you?
Yeah.
Same-sex marriage. You still are against same-sex marriage?
Well, it's over, it's past, it's done. No, this is the important point here, because when we took through the civil partnership legislation, or at least the Labour Party did, and we supported it, we talked to Stonewall at that time and said, do you want same-sex marriage? And they said no. So, you know, I thought making a double issue of it was a waste of time.
OK. I'm going to take one more question now, because we've got time for it.